did get along with people, and it was mainly, stand up for yourself rights, and don't get talked into something that won't work. Of course, a lot of that was told, go ahead and try this gun, maybe it's going to work. But different things like that. But yeah, you get a lot out of it. During the Depression, well, a lot of us our age, it was, we had it good because we was on the farm. And during the Depression, my dad used to go into Albert Lee and every weekend on a Friday about and bring relatives out to the farm. And they'd stay there till Sunday night and take them back because at least they had something to eat. And we usually sent stuff back with them. No, it wasn't an easy time. If you made 10 cents, you thought you was rich. And if you had, well, he was kind of rich. I remember when I was kids working for a neighbor, 10 cents a day, weeding onions. And of course, it was the same with all of us in that time. One time we had our wheat ground into flour out here at the old mill, and that was about a year before they closed. I think it was 34, about the year they quit doing it out here. And we came from our place with wheat and had it ground into flour at the old mill. And my dad was a pretty slow driver in that Model T truck. And if you've been north of or west of Austin, around the Moscow area, you got to go one downhill and up another. And he went so slow downhill, he didn't get up the other one and had to turn around and back up it. Because you could always back up with a Model T truck. I imagine you can call it the military because I was in the Minnesota State Guard, first motorcycle company, when that was formed after Company H left Austin. All us that was 17-year-old trying to get in there couldn't, but we could get the Minnesota State Guard. Of course, my brother, he volunteered when he had to register for the draft. He was when the draft first started. He registered for the draft and volunteered for the Army. And of course, by that time, the folks could have kind of killed him because we were running 240 acres and milking 35 head of cattle. So there's one more not off the farm. Well, then my brother, 2 years younger, when he had to register, he volunteered and went to the Navy. And then when I was going to register, he told me, go in the Navy. At least you got a place to sleep and it's dry. I was in 1943 to 46. The last ship I was on was the LSD number 13. It was a ship that looked like a pickup box because it was 2 hulls, 2 engines, 2 of everything. And we hauled PT boats inside there, LSMs. That's where we made all these different landings. What we do when we went in with LSMs and stuff like that on, they'd flood the well deck and drop the tailgate, and when we got to where they had to go, we just put the ship around so the stern was heading for shore, and they'd fire up their LSMs, and the way they'd go was loaded, heading for shore. There was a lot of stuff you learned how things operated with something like that. We could have 6 PT boats inside of us. And them were long. They were 55 feet long. I always wanted one of them. When we was tied up someplace waiting for to get loaded or unloaded, and they'd say our mail was over in another island. So they had a PT that run over there. Nobody wanted to ride the PT, and I like to sit right on the bow and hang on the top there. And the way we'd go, I'd go like 30 miles over that island and pick up the mail. But it was really important when you come back with a bag of mail. Well, when I first went in, I was a gunner, 20 millimeter. Especially that was when I was in the Philippines and all them different back and forth in the countryside there, through all the islands. We landed at Port Moresby when the first one over there. We were signed up to for a gun crew. The time when our crew got formed in Treasure Island, that's where there was 90-some thousand people and waiting for different ships and coming back from ships. And your whole gun crew was formed right then. That's the same one she was going to have all the time during the ship. And then the keel was laid, and 3 days later we were in and picked up our new ship. The paint wasn't even dry good. And then they had to get the guns and ammunition on it, and we took a 24-hour shakedown cruise to see if everything was working. And then we loaded lumber till everything was, well, first we loaded tanks and stuff in the holes. It was quite a jaunt. I wouldn't be too crazy about going through it again, but well, when they started out one day, 9/11, I used to tell people I went down to enlist, and they told me they'd take women and kids first. So, so I didn't have a chance there. I got married before I got out of service in 45. Come back with no job. Well, no, the very first job was the old mill. You remember the old mill on the east side there? Yeah, well, we worked there, my brother and I worked there, and it got so, we were both getting down to, we were handling so much stuff during the day, and we were just melting away. I was down to 127 pounds, and handling them 100-pound sacks all the time. I finally got into Hornwells, bought our first house, 3-bedroom house, for $5,300, and anyhow did that on a $33 a week job.
What message would you convey to the young people of Minnesota about the freedom they are currently enjoying?
Just look over all this stuff that if you're in this room, look it over, and that's why you're enjoying that freedom.